So Arman Tsarukyan defeats Charles Oliveira by a split decision, and it's got a lot of people questioning about the scoring rules. Some people think that Charles should have stole the round because of that late submission. Some people think that Tsarukyan got the rightful decision for, holding top position and landing some punches here and there. But because the scoring rules are so weird, did it go the right way? Because we know for sure that Tsarukyan was winning the majority of the round, but he didn't do anything too crazy that got close to finishing it. So that's why a lot of people think that Charles should have gotten the decision win. The first round goes to Charles, the second round goes to Arman, third round is a bit back and forth. And Charles may have been the one that got closer to finishing it, and that's kind of what it states in the rules. Not that I agree, but we can look at it right here. Effective striking and grappling, quote, legal blows that have immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute towards the end of the match, with the immediate weighing in more heavily than the cumulative impact. Successful execution of takedowns, submission attempts, reversals, and the achievement of advantageous positions that produce immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute to the end of the match, with the immediate weighing more heavily than the cumulative impact. It shall be noted that a successful takedown is not merely a changing of position, but the establishment of an attack from the use of the takedown. Top and bottom position fighters are assessed more on the impactful/effective result of their actions, more so than their position. This criterion will be the deciding factor in a high majority of decisions when scoring a round, unquote. So pretty much what it says, whoever gets close to getting a finish wins the round. That's essentially what it is saying. And if we're going to be judging it that way, technically, Oliveira did get closer to finishing the fight, even though the Darce choke was not all the way in because he didn't have the legs positioned, right? He didn't have control of Arman's legs, so the choke wasn't going to be as tight, but the choke itself was in. It was all the way locked in, and you can choke somebody out just from that. And Arman's body did look like it went limp at one point, like he went out and then woke up again. But is that enough? Is that enough to steal the round for Charles Oliveira, who also did land some strikes here and there? But where I think a lot of people are mistaking effectiveness is the fact that Arman got more top control, but control time means nothing. Control time is not even scored. It virtually does not exist for scoring. And number two, just because Arman's on top does not mean he's winning. It doesn't matter what their position is, it's what they're doing with that position. Now, Arman, of course, was the guy that was winning because he was doing something with his top position. He was landing some elbows, he was landing some punches, but was that enough? Does that get closer to finishing the fight than what Charles Oliveira did with that Darce choke? That's where this question is all coming down to. And we can look at everything from here. So let's categorize every single strike in accordance to damage, light, medium, or heavy. The medium and heavy shots are going to be the main things we're going to be looking at. So the first strike that lands, very, very slightly light strike by Arman Tsarukyan. He's backpedaling away, throws the left hand, connects slightly on Charles, doesn't really do anything. Then Arman lands a two-strike combination, a right overhand over the guard, and then a follow-up body kick. Both pretty good strikes. He follows up with a jab later, doesn't really get much off of that, and then Charles Oliveira returns with a shot of his own, the biggest strike so far, a long right strike connects clean on Arman's chin, giving a bigger reaction than the other strikes. A partially blocked left hook for Arman, followed up by another left hook as Oliveira's moving away from it, decreasing the impact of the blow. Then Oliveira counters him with a grazing right hook that doesn't really do anything. Another right hook in the clinch lands behind the ear, stomps on his foot, doesn't really do anything either, and then a knee to the body while also on the clinch backed up to the fence. And then he lands a short elbow as well, where Arman Tsarukyan returns with one of his own, both not really doing much. A leg kick for Arman, then he follows up later with a two-punch combination, left hook and then a right hook, both mostly blocked. After a takedown from Arman was stuffed, they enter the clinch and Charles is able to land a knee to the body. Then Arman puts together some punches, he lands a jab to the body, then later goes up to the head, and this one's a little bit bigger, right? Gets a decent reaction out of Charles Oliveira, snapping his head back into the side. Stinging jab from Arman Tsarukyan. Arman keeps landing punches, he goes and lands a left hook, partially blocked of course, just like usual, then hits Oliveira with two jabs, don't really give much of a reaction. Most of these strikes are light. Then Oliveira eventually lands a body kick that seems to hit like the ribs, lat area. Decent shot from Charles Oliveira, but Arman was able to retaliate with a right straight through the guard. That doesn't get much of a reaction out of Oliveira. This kick was completely blocked. Oliveira just moved away after, but Arman was finally able to get the takedown. When they fall to the ground, Oliveira is grabbing onto the head. Arman turns it into a Von Flue choke. Now he doesn't have it all the way in, doesn't look like Oliveira's in too much trouble, but he does have that kind of position. But he used it as a transition to get into the crucifix position, where Oliveira threw a knee to the body but lands with his thigh. Now Arman lands 3 elbows to the head, 3 knees to the body. One of the elbows seemed to cause a bit more damage, judging from the reaction from Oliveira getting hit. And Arman the whole time is holding on to the head. At one point it could have turned into an arm triangle. He gets out of the crucifix, gets the crucifix again, then tries to get Oliveira's back where he only has one hook. So it's not complete. Arman again tries to get the back, but it backfires on him where Charles Oliveira reverses him and throws in the Darce choke. He actually threw it more than once. So he has the Darce choke grip in this position and tries to get the leg. Then he lets go of the Darce choke, holds onto the headlock, as you can see his hand here. Then he turns it into another Darce choke. And Arman Tsarukyan goes limp at one point. His hand drops, his body falls. This is not a defensive maneuver. This in fact makes the choke even worse when you drop your weight like this. The ref looks to go and check on him, but then Arman, it's like he woke up. I think here, at least the way it looks and the way that the judges can only observe it, Arman seemed to have gone out for a second and came back too. You can see him posture up back to his knees. Now, whether he did go out for a second is up for debate. I mean, logically speaking, if he went out like that and the choke never got loosened up, unless Oliveira admits that he loosened it up, it wouldn't make sense that Arman would come back and not get choked out again or something, you know, because the choke was still in. So in that aspect, it is kind of strange, but off of what we see, that did look like the closest a fighter got to a finish, right? But we could tally up all the strikes here. We could tally up everything that both fighters did. Man, it's really tough. Obviously, Arman clearly outlanded Charles Oliveira. He had 17 strikes to Charles' 9, 16 light, 4 medium. Charles has 7 light, 2 medium, but nothing crazy happened in the striking that rivals some of the submission attempts. And then when you look at Arman's Von Flue choke, you look at his crucifix position, side control, getting the takedown. Do those grappling sequences trump that one Darce choke from Charles Oliveira, him reversing Arman Tsarukyan and attempting a Darce choke earlier? Because remember, Charles did attempt it twice. Even though it was quick consecutively, he did go for the Darce, let go of it, and then went back to the Darce later. Technically, you could say Oliveira had the single most damaging punch, or the one that gave the biggest reaction, but it's not really going to make much of a difference because Arman also landed really good shots too, and more good shots. He also got the takedown. He also threatened with the Von Flue choke. He got some good positions, but didn't do too much with them other than the Von Flue choke. That wasn't really committed as much. Physically, didn't look like he was in as much trouble as Arman was in that Darce choke. When Arman went limp like that, it really puts a lot of things into question. And honestly, I don't know what to think about it. Purely off what we see, it looks like Oliveira could have gotten the win due to what the scoring says in terms of who gets closer to finishing the fight. Seeing Arman go limp like that, it makes it look like Oliveira should have stole the round because he got close. I mean, he almost finished him. It was just the ref had to call it off, just physically looking at it. But logically, when Arman comes back and he's in that choke for like another 15 seconds and he didn't get choked out at all, it makes it seem like maybe Arman just reacted strangely. So honestly, I could see it both ways. If that doesn't constitute to a close finish, then Arman wins the round. If that does constitute to a close finish, then Oliveira wins the round. It just depends on how you look at it. One of the judges saw it this way for Oliveira. 2 of the judges saw it the way for Arman Tsarukyan. So I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown, and if you did, make sure to give this a like, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video.